So, folks, I'm here again to present to you guys another wonderful call in to the Transatlantic Call In Show. This is a show I've been a co host on now for a couple months, and I'm really enjoying it. It's a show where people can call in and ask questions about trans people, trans rights, different aspects of transness, if you will. Because not everyone knows a trans person, and not everyone gets a chance to, ask whatever questions are on their mind. It is kind of an ask anything type of show about trans people. So check that out. This was with Josie Caballero. Go check out Josie's work. She's running for office. Very, very cool stuff. But also, folks, go check out The Line, which is the network that hosts this show, the Transatlantic Call-In Show. Go check it out. There's a link down below where you can go subscribe and also look at their merch and also do their Patreon thing. Go check it out. It's cool. And also down below is a link to the wider episode where this call was from. So check that out too. And like, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to say it again at the end of the video, just letting you know, but you should like and leave a comment longer than 8 words everywhere. All right. Anyway, let's get into it. I hope you guys enjoy it. It's a great time going on this show every time. Let's do it.
We are going to be bringing on Alan, and from Canada is agender and has a question about the schema-based definition on gender. Hello, Alan. How are you?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
we can hear you. You are live on the line.
Am I coming through all right?
Yes, you are. It's crystal clear.
Perfect. All right. Hi, Josie. Hi, Jack. So I had questions regarding like the definition of like gender, and I was wondering like what do you guys like? How do you guys define gender basically?
I personally, I break gender down into multiple different like aspects. Like there's gender identity, like what you identify as, gender roles, kind of how you perform that identity, gender expression, how you like choose to present yourself in that identity. And so like I kind of break it down into subcategories to make it more digestible and have like more targeted conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And my sense of gender is very, very similar as well, about the internal sense of gender within the social construct of what we in society say, gender is. So the schema definition, as you said, is basically like, I know what my gender is, and going to what Jack was saying about expression as well. I've never heard the gender performance basis roles though. That's an interesting one. I do like the nuance that you added to that, Jack. But essentially, like when I think of my gender as a woman, I really do think back of like my mother, my sisters, and my grandmother, and all the women in my life, and how they the women that they are in my life really helped inform me of the woman that I am in my life. And I think that's very common for a lot of people who adopt a sense of gender, is the idea that my whole outlook is based on the people I find close, or people I admire, even, right? Like people in public life, and icons, and all of these humans that embody the understanding of their own gender helped inform me of the gender that I am. Even though my gender is my own and I make it my own, I still look up to other women to help inform who I am as a person, as I developed and grew as a human being. It's complex, but that's kind of how I view my gender and how it shows up.
Okay. Um,
How about you,
so
Alan?
like yeah, I was gonna say like yeah, like I don't know if I have an actual definition just yet. I think like in my head I think of it like genders are like kind of like clubs, right? Like that's sort of like what I think of it as. Um,
Hmm.
I don't know how like you would really because like it's like um you can identify as if you're part of the club, but also like you have to get like accepted into the club too. So like I don't know if like it makes sense to you guys like the way I think of it.
Hmm. Hmm. And it's interesting because you also said you're agender, so maybe I asked you an unfair
Exactly. Yes.
question. Right.
Mhm.
It's like asking an asexual person or an ace person what is love in a romantic, intimate sense, right? Like it would be something that's very interesting of like, you know, to try to say, so what is a marriage and love that has intimacy and all of that? That would be kind of a weird question to ask a person that was like ace, for example. So
Mhm.
I do find it interesting that you look at it as like a club, and I think that's a very interesting way to view it,
I think
Jack.
I think that like no, I think it makes like a lot of sense to me because clubs are also socially constructed. You know,
Yeah.
like
Well, that's what I was going
to
for. Yeah.
yeah, to me like it's essentially the same things. Like you're building essentially this group identity around a certain set of characteristics or ideas about how people in the group should act, and like essentially that's kind of how I view what our concepts of gender identity even are. um
Mhm.
like I liked Josie put it in a more, I think, poetic way, like kind of like inheriting like the idea of womanhood from the women in your life. I there's almost something romantic to that I like. um
Well, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
oh no, go for it.
I was just gonna say, like, yeah, the idea Josie brought up is actually really cool, but like, it's also like, from my point of view, like the club thing, I would say that's like the legacy of the club, and like sometimes you'd want to like contribute to that club history and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, I think that's that. Yeah, no, that I think that really makes sense. Like if you bring it to like a sports analogy, almost like, oh, well, the people in my family always rooted for, the Minnesota Vikings, play the world's smallest, violin for us. But, like my concept of what a Vikings fan would be would then be heavily informed by the people in my life who are Vikings fans. But then I would be aware that there is a much larger portion of the club who, are Vikings fans as well, that exist beyond what I immediately know as to be Vikings fans for me personally. And so I think it's a fair analogy.
Hmm. Um, yeah, well, I guess I can't ask you the questions that I was gonna ask about the schema-based ones because neither of you like
Sure.
use that definition. So
Yeah, go for it.
um, yeah, I guess I could just say a couple of things on the sports thing that you guys were talking about earlier.
Mhm.
Hmm.
I feel like I don't understand why we don't like try to like push towards a like biometrics basically based like categorization for or like, not categorization but like teaming up or like divvying up the people the athletes because like we already know like based on studies that like oh they say arm length is better for boxers or leg length is better for runners stuff like that. So like it feels like those kinds of like biomarkers could be a very easy way to like make leagues so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying earlier on the show, like, weight class is like a typical go-to in a lot of sports for ways of divvying up different leagues, and I don't necessarily see that there's a compelling reason we couldn't do what you're suggesting. And the main hurdle to getting to that is that I think that there's still like this very heteronormative idea of
Oh, for sure.
gender and sexuality that then like informs sports, and like a lot of misogyny also informs
Hmm.
a lot of sports segregation around gender. And so I think that like I personally think that it would be preferable if we took like, we had different height leagues, or different, figured out a different way that seems a bit more equitable and isn't just like, well, you're a man, so you're in a different league arbitrarily because we think you have an unfair advantage compared to any woman. And like I
Yeah.
think that I agree with you. I think working towards that would
Hmm.
probably be a better world for all of us. But I also think that the majority of our society is going to need to be baby stepped towards that point if we're to get there at all.
Definitely.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'll also add to like and I know my opinion, maybe the minority opinion on the show is essentially I do believe that testosterone does help like mu retain muscle a little bit easier. So in particular ways they can do that. But if you are measuring for height and all of those type of things, I think like that is also an effective way. And I think what Jack said was perfectly is baby steps to getting there to be able to do it. Because we got to
Hmm.
realize that the gender segregation of sports comes from the fact that men didn't want to be freaking embarrassed on the freaking floor of a wrestling match because they get bodied by a woman that is like not even half that's half their size. It's about protecting the masculine ego of not having women come up and beat them in a playoff or in not a tryout. That's what I mean. Like it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't make the team, but the woman did. What does that say about my masculinity? So a lot of that does happen, and I think that that was probably where I think a lot of the segregation came from. And I believe at first it's like, yeah, let the girl play, and then she starts winning. They're like, don't let the girl play, like and it was like it was probably like that at the beginning. And so I think that if we start doing it based in the understanding that sports is inherently not a fair thing. It's about that's what makes sports exciting is when you see an underdog beat somebody that is supposed to have the advantage. That's what makes sports exciting. Because if we just if sports was always the taller person wins, then that wouldn't be a lot of fun, would it? Like it would be like, oh man, that's not any fun. Why are we watching the sport? Like if the same football team won every year, every time, every Super Bowl, again, it wouldn't be fun. It'd be like this is just boring. We already know who the winner is going to be. And so I think that there's a lot of power in the inequities of sports. That's what makes the Cinderella story of like somebody beating all odds. Um, and I think when we talk about like testosterone versus not having testosterone, that's the only time if you squint, and I say if you squint, you could say that there is some type of thing there. But even if you were to match it with testosterone or estrogen, whatever, however you want to look at the biomarker in that, once that's removed from the equation, then all the advantages seem to fall away. I know because I've been transitioned medically now for almost 6 years. And believe me, I am not the same strength that I used to have. Like, I'm not even close. So something happened. I feel it. Something exists in my body that made me not as powerful or fast as I used to be. But maybe that's
Hmm.
age. I don't know. It's maybe because I'm just an old lady now, and that's just how it goes.
Nah.
Yeah,
No, don't put
yeah.
yourself down. Don't put yourself down.
Yeah. But so I think that the sports leagues should be the ones making these determinations. And it shouldn't be blanket government interference that should be making these determinations. I think if the sports leagues make the choice, and sports leagues were doing it based on testosterone for a long time, it's only till recently that this has become an issue. Is where we are. And then you also have the controversies in the Olympics where, they haven't let black women athletes that have too much testosterone in their blood perform. So therefore, now we're dealing with another issue. So
Hmm.
so I feel like the regulations of the people who are athletes and the professionals that do the sport should be the ones that make the ultimate determinations. Are they always going to get it right? No, they're not. But I think that we will edge closer to wherever the point of the place is supposed to be. But we cannot put it in the politicians' hands. And I say that as a politician. I say that as somebody who
Hmm.
wants to govern. I don't want the power to be able to say a certain class of people can participate any such thing. I don't want to have that type of power to tell a medical doctor what they can and cannot do based on their medical understanding. I don't want to, like, it's just like, call me crazy, but I don't want big government. I want government that works for people.
And
I mean,
I
yeah, I
would
can.
just add,
Oh, go ahead.
sorry. I guess I would just add that um, one of the advantages of baby stepping it is that we can change our approach to slowly get closer to where we might ideally want to be, and we can get new information as we go. And
Mhm.
if we find out something just like absolutely doesn't work, we can change course. Um, and so I think, yeah, I just wanted to add that in there.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot to agree with there. Yeah, definitely like the incrementalism approach. Like, you can, you know, do like incremental approaches, see what works better, what doesn't work better, and yeah, that's definitely better in terms of society building. Um, and yeah, I mean, I'm an anarchist myself, so I do agree with leaving stuff up to citizens for the most part. Yeah, it's definitely like a great like idea to have, or at least principle. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Alan, I'm sorry that we're gonna have to move on to get to super chats.
Not at all. Not at all.
I have to go to an
It's
event
been fun.
after
Thank you.
this. But yeah, I really appreciate you so much. And
Yeah.
yeah, call in again if you have any other questions. Appreciate you.
For sure. For sure.
All
Have a nice day,
right.
guys.
Bye-bye. You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, that was a wonderful call, or a very contentious call. I'm recording this many days later, and I don't remember how that call went. Let me know how you thought that call went down in the comments, and then go click on a link down in the description below to the original episode, and also leave a comment over there. We're trying to grow this channel and that channel, so go do the things, help both channels grow. You know, you're getting a lot of content. Go do that. Go click the buttons. You know the buttons, the ones that you click on YouTube. Go click them. And also, folks, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Let's keep on going.
Riverboat Jack is going to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube is where she streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, gaming, plenty more. Her sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord. Riverboat Jack.